super heavy tanks are armored fighting vehicles of very large size, generally over 75 tons. Programs have been initiated on several occasions with the aim of creating an invincible vehicle for penetrating enemy formations without fear of being destroyed in combat. However, only a few examples have ever been built, and there is no clear evidence any of these vehicles saw combat. Examples were designed in World War I and World War II, along with a few in the Cold War. Sometimes super heavy tank destroyers, self-propelled guns, railway guns and tank destroyers and some heavy tanks are also called super heavy tanks, for example the American T28 Tank Destroyer, British Tortoise Assault Gun, Nazi German Landkreuzer P's 1500 monster railway gun, and the Soviet S-7 heavy tank. History, World War I era. The first super heavy tank was designed by the Russian naval engineer Vasily Mendeleev, who worked on the project from 1911 to 1915. The tank was envisioned to be invulnerable to almost all contemporary threats but remained on paper because of its high construction cost. It was followed by the British Flying Elephant concept as a way to break through any potential defensive line, and the German K-Wagon. Two of them were under construction when the war ended and both were demolished. World War II era. During World War II all of the major combatants introduced prototypes for special roles. Adolf Hitler was a proponent of war-winning weapons and supported projects like the 188-ton Moss, and even larger 1,000-ton Landkreuzer P's 1,000 Rat and 1,500-ton Landkreuzer P's 1,500 Monster. The British, Soviets and Americans all built prototype designs similar to the Jag-Tiger, but none of these saw combat as the need for such a weapon turned out to be extremely limited. Cold War era. The idea of super heavy tanks saw less development after the war, except in the Soviet Union where some relatively heavy tank prototypes were tested for the Cold War nuclear battlefield, one example being the Object 279. These may be considered super heavy by the standards of Soviet tank design, where the emphasis was on small size and low weight, but they were no heavier than the contemporary US and British heavy tanks of the period. List of super heavy tanks. British, TOG 1-80 tons, 1 prototype, TOG 2-80 tons, 1 prototype, Flying Elephant, First World War era project at 100 tons, not built, French, Char-2C, 69 tons, 10 built in the 1920s, FCMF 1-139 tons, 1 prototype, German, K-Wagon, 120 metric tons, 2 were nearly complete when World War I ended. Both were demolished. Panzer VII Le Paragraphe V, about 95 to 100 tons, cancelled in favor of Moss. Panzer VIII Moss, 188 tons, 2 prototypes. Both were captured by the Soviet Army. One can now be seen at the Kubinka Tank Museum. Panzer Kampfwagen E 75 to 95 tons, designed to succeed Tiger II. Never built, only on blueprint. Panzer Kampfwagen E 100 to 140 tons, 1 hull completed at factory. Captured by British and scrapped. Landkreuzer P's 1,000 Rat, 1,000 tons, the project was cancelled. A turret was finished, but it was used for coastal defense. Japanese, OI series, super heavy tank 130 tons. Purportedly 1 prototype was produced in 1944 and sent to Manchuria. Ultra-heavy tank modification of the O-1 super heavy tank with 4 turrets. Project only. Soviet, 80-ton tank, at least 1 prototype built in 1926. 80 tons with 2 76mm main guns and 4 machine guns, T-42 to 100 tons with 107mm main gun and 4 sub-turrets. 1 prototype made, 1932, KV-4, WWII Supertank Project. A proposed 90 to 100-ton tank, carrying a 107mm main gun and a 45mm or 76mm secondary. Various layouts were considered, with the hull-mounted 107mm and a 76mm turret chosen as the final option. KV-5, another Kliment Voroshilov Series 100-ton class tank. armed with the same 107mm main gun in a large, KV-2-style turret, and two 12.7mm machine gun turrets. Powered by two V2 diesels due to wartime lack of a 1200 horsepower engine. See also, Landship, Heavy Tank, References. Bibliography, Zaliger, Stephen J., James Granson. Soviet Tanks and Combat Vehicles of World War II, London, Arms and Armour Press. ISBN 0-85368-606-8.